It is 7:15, and we will reconvene in open session this regular meeting of the Waco iSD Board of Trustees. We've been in closed session in accordance with sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code, and no action was taken. Welcome. I apologize for the delay. We're taking up some issues in executive session, but as I tell you every month, we sincerely appreciate your interest and support of the Waco Public Schools. And I will remind you that this regular business meeting of the Waco Independent School Board is been called to order, and all items discussed and voted upon this evening have been posted as required by state law. And it's the board's purpose to set goals, listen to reports of the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and to make policy for the district. We are not here to make management decisions or solve problems of individuals, as management is the sole responsibility of the superintendent and his staff. Don't have a huge crowd tonight, but it's large enough that if you have a cell phone with you, if you would put it on silent or turn it off at this time, we would greatly appreciate it. Also want to welcome anybody watching at home on Channel 17. With that, we'd ask that you join us as we pause for a moment of silence for prayer, contemplation, reflection, or meditation. Thank you. We'll move on to item 6, Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. DeBeer.
Thank you, and good evening, Mr. President. Tonight, we're pleased to introduce you to two students from Lake Air Montessori Magnet School who will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please welcome Macy Dean, who is a rising third grade student, and Jermaine Carpenter Jr., who's a rising second grader.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, students. Board members, please join Dr. Nelson in front of the dais for tonight's special recognitions. We'll begin the special recognition portion of our meeting this evening with an introduction of our pledge leaders from Lake Air Montessori Magnet School. Macy Dean has just completed the second grade, and not only will she be a third grader next year, as of today, Macy is 8 years old. Happy birthday, Macy. Macy's favorite subject in school is math, and outside of school, she enjoys dance, basketball, and volleyball. Macy is creative and loves to draw, write stories, and is just an amazing storyteller. She also loves to help people. According to her teacher, Macy is very energetic and loves to learn. She's, quote, my right-hand woman in the classroom who loves to help her classmates. It's maybe not any wonder that when Macy grows up, she wants to be a teacher. She also has a fantastic role model as she pursues that career in Haley Dean, who is her mother and an instructional coach at Lake Air Montessori. And we're glad that Mrs. Dean and Macy's father, Justin Dean, could join us this evening. Would you please stand so we can recognize you as well? Thank you for sharing your daughter with us. Next, I'd like to introduce you more fully to Jermaine Carpenter Jr., who just completed the first grade at Lake Air Montessori Magnet School. His favorite subject in school is also math, and in his spare time, Jermaine enjoys running track and playing sports like football and soccer. His hobbies include reading and playing Minecraft, a video game that allows players to build three-dimensional worlds with a variety of objects that represent raw materials. There's no doubt that his interests and hobbies might one day steer him towards his ideal career path of becoming an astronaut. We know that Jermaine's parents are very proud of him, and I'd like to ask his mother, Shamikia Carpenter, and his father, Jermaine Carpenter Sr., to stand so that we can recognize you as well, please. We also want to thank our Adopt-a-School partner, Barnes & Noble Booksellers, for donating the books that our pledge leaders are receiving tonight. We have incredible community partners and incredible donations of books for our students, and it's hard to top what the next group did to support every single second grader in Waco ISD. The generosity of the organizations that are represented tonight has truly made a difference for our students. The YMCA of Central Texas brought together a partnership with the Rotary Club of Waco, the Northwest Optimist Club, the Junior League of Waco, and Lockridge Priest to put a book in the hand of every second grade student at all 15 of our elementary schools. They pooled their resources and purchased books that were actually personalized for each second grade student in the district. The books had a main character that reflected the student who would receive it and shared stories about manners, about engaging in life that our students both enjoyed and no doubt benefited from. Tonight, we want to thank these organizations, and we'd like to begin by introducing a representative from each group, starting with Mr. Rodney Martin from the YMCA. We're also joined by Dave Geyer from the Rotary Club of Waco. Jacob Cates is here from the Northwest Optimist Club. Tricia Capps is joining us from Lockridge Priest. And Holly Burchett is representing the Junior League of Waco. We also have an incredible number of members from each of these organizations here, and in just a moment, we're going to ask everyone to join us for a group photo. But first, I have some really exciting news for next year that I get to share with all of you tonight. And that's that the Junior League of Waco has made a commitment to put a book in the hand of every Waco ISD first grader next year, and that the Rotary Club of Waco is going to work with the YMCA to do the same project again next year for all of next year's second graders. It's an incredible gift of time and money and effort, and we truly appreciate it. So as we close out this special recognition, I'd like to ask our guests to join us for a group photo if you were part of the project of supporting these books for second graders. Our photographer's over here. Thank you all so much. Each year in a highly anticipated event, the Waco ISD Education Foundation's Surprise Patrol makes its way around the district to surprise teachers with the exciting news that their grant proposals have been selected for funding. Last month, a combination of foundation board members, members of the grants committee, and district staff traveled to 12 Waco ISD campuses with noisemakers, cowbells, pom-poms, balloons, and best of all, big checks in tow, ready to celebrate 27 deserving teachers and their innovative projects. This year, the Education Foundation awarded a total of nearly $112,000 back to Waco ISD through these grants to encourage and support innovative teaching. These grants will provide unique experiences for students, access to new technology, the ability to pursue talents, and so much more. With us tonight to present the Waco ISD Board of Trustees with a check in the amount of $111,924.30, please welcome Foundation Board President Taylor Bledsoe and directors Karen Hassel, Charlotte Henderson, and Belinda Rubio. The foundation would like to thank everyone who participated in this process this year by reviewing a grant application, submitting a grant application, or donating to make the funds available to fund these exciting projects. And with our congratulations to the 27 teachers who received funding through these grants, we conclude our special recognitions for tonight's meeting. Thank you all. Move to July.
All right, the next item on the agenda is item 8, audience for guests. My understanding, no members of the public have signed up this evening, so we'll go on to item 9, discussion and possible action. We'll begin with action to consider hiring administrators. Dr. Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have several recommendations. Before we get into the recommendations that require approval, we do have one promotion that does not require board approval, but it is a very important position in our organization. Mr. President, members of the board, I'd like to recommend Mrs. Candace Becker to become the Dean of Academies, going from the Dean of Career Academies at University to the Dean of the Greater Waco Advanced Health Care Academy, better known as Waco. Congratulations, Ms. Becker. Ms. Becker, would you like to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. President.
Ms. Beckham, did you want to introduce who you brought with you this evening? Welcome. Congratulations.
Mr. President, members of the board, for approval tonight, we're asking first of all for J.H. Hines Elementary, the approval of Adrian Decker as assistant principal. You want to vote on it, or how you want to do that? Wanna do them all?
We'll vote all 9 of them at one time, if that's all right with the administration.
Okay. So for J.H. Hines, we have Adrian Decker. For also another assistant principal at J.H. Hines, we're recommending Miss Jennifer Logan. Also for Carver Middle School, we are recommending Miss Kristen Johnson. For Cesar Chavez Middle School, Miss Cherie Goodman. For Indian Spring Middle School, Miss Shamise Sora. For University High School, Miss Lisa Walker. For Waco High School, Mr. Reginald Lewis. And for Waco High School, Miss Ashley Bates. Recommend approval.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. And someday, somebody's going to jinx this because you're already applauding, and we haven't voted to accept the recommendation yet.
Right.
Hopefully it won't be tonight. All right. I'll entertain a motion to accept the administration's recommendation. Thank you, Ms. Manning. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Cordweg. Any questions, comments, discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Dr. Nelson, do you want to introduce these folks?
Now, for the first time as assistant principal at J.H. Hines Elementary, she holds a bachelor's degree from Stephen F. Austin University, a master's degree from the Texas A&M University College Station, and she is currently pursuing her doctorate at Sam Houston State University. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the new assistant principal of J.H. Hines Elementary, Miss Adrian Decker. Would you like to introduce anyone?
My beautiful daughter,
Kylie. All right, congratulations, Ms. Decker and Kylie. Also, she hails from Houston, Texas, by way of Waco, where she's from. She holds a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies from Sam Houston State University. She also has a master's degree from Sam Houston State University. She is a member of the National Sorority that is led here locally by Miss Jocelyn Pierce, Phi Delta Kappa, and she is a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome from the Houston Independent School District, new assistant principal at J.H. Hines, Miss Jennifer Logan. Miss Logan, you have anybody you want to introduce? All right, Mr. Logan. Nice to know you, sir. Congratulations. Next, we have assistant principal at Carver. She is currently an employee in the Waco Independent School District. She has a bachelor degree from Baylor University, a master's degree from Tarleton State University, and she enjoys reading, singing, and spending time with her family and friends at the Greater New Light Baptist Church, I think. And she is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. Please help me welcome new assistant principal at Carver Middle School, Kristen Johnson. Kristen, would you like to introduce anyone?
yes, I have my mother, Peggy Johnson, my father, Laurie Johnson, and dear family friend, Karen Green.
All right, congratulations. Looking forward to working with you. This next lady also needs no introduction to our family at Waco ISD. She's currently employed at Carver Middle School as an instructional specialist. She has a Bachelor's of Science degree, which she obtained in Computer Science and Technology from Paul Quinn College. She also has a Master's degree from Concordia University in Austin, Texas. She is married to my frat brother, Brother Goodman. And she will be the new assistant principal at Cesar Chavez Middle School. Please help me welcome Mrs. Cherie Goodman. Mrs. Goodman, would you like to introduce your fan club that you've brought with you? Yeah. All right, we're glad to have you. New position, new assistant principal at Indian Springs Middle School. She's no stranger to Indian Springs. She has been serving as an instructional coach there this past year. She has a Bachelor of Arts degree from Sam Houston State University in English. She has a Master's of Science degree from Capella University. She is a member of Phi Delta Kappa Incorporated Gamma Upsilon Chapter and a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Alpha Rho Sigma Chapter. Please help me welcome the new assistant principal at Indian Spring Middle School, Miss Shamise Sora. Ms. Sorrow, would you like to introduce anyone quickly? Not everybody, because you, yeah.
I have my husband, Adrian Sorrow, my mother, Cheryl, my grandmother, Lois, and my uncle Ricky. I have my wonderful principal, former principal, Dr. Jenkins, my Aunt Ethel. I have all of I have my sorority sisters, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority. Huge number of those fighting bulldogs from Indian Spring Middle School. And I have my sisters of Phi Delta Kappa Sorority Incorporated as well, and some community members. Thank you.
All right, family reunion, we got it. All right. Our next position that we'd like to celebrate this evening with our Board of Trustees is assistant principal at University High School. This lady is a dynamite educator who just brings excitement everywhere she goes, and we're excited to see this her leadership in this new position. She has a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology with a minor in political science from Baylor University. She has a Master's of Science degree in education with an emphasis in educational psychology from Baylor University. And she is a doctoral candidate in educational leadership at Tarleton State University. She is a member of Kappa Delta Pi, National Councils of Teachers of English, and the International Literacy Association. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome, show your love, for the new assistant principal at University, Ms. Lisa Walker. Ms. Walker, would you like to introduce anyone?
My oldest son, his wife, Rachel and Crystal, their kids. My oldest daughter, Brittany, my other daughter, Chelsea, my aunt, Bernita, and her two daughters, Dale and Beverly, my first cousins, and my cousin, Jeanette, and my other cousin.
All right, congratulations. This next gentleman comes to our school district from the DeSoto Independent School District, where he's been serving as an administrator there. He hails from Waco, Texas, where he is a proud 1983 graduate of the Waco High School. He has his Bachelor's of Science degree. Oh, okay, well. Hey, man, don't come in here calling shots. You know, calling shots. I said Waco. I just get I apologize. He has a Bachelor's of Science degree from Sam Houston State University in criminal correction. He has a Master's of Business Administration degree from LeTourneau University. And Without further ado, I'm proud to introduce the new assistant principal at Waco High School, Mr. Reginald Lewis. Mr. Lewis found out about an hour and a half ago that he was going to get this position, so he wasn't able to bring his family, but you want to say a few?
My wife was shopping when I got the phone call. When I called her afterwards, she was still shopping.
All right. She can shop a little more now. All right. That brings us to our final recommendation that has been approved by this honorable Board of Trustees. She also is new to our district. She joins us from the Killeen Independent School District, where she has been serving at Palo Alto Middle School. She has a bachelor's degree in communication studies from Ottawa University in Ottawa, Kansas, and a master's of education degree from Angelo State University. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome from Temple, Texas, the new assistant principal at Waco High School, Mrs. Ashley Bates. Ms. Bates, you'd like to introduce anyone special to you?
Yes, before that, I forgot to put on my bio, I'm also a proud member, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And Helene, over there.
There you go.
I did bring my husband, Rodney Bates,
All right.
my daughter, Sydney, who's 8, my son, Drew, is 4, and then we have a little foster baby who's 10 months old.
That's beautiful. All right. God bless you. I believe that concludes our recommendations. Congratulations to all of you who are joining our team. We certainly have a lot of work to do, and we look forward to the value you will add to our organization. Mr. President.
Dr. Nelson. And let me just say for the record, it's clear you've been practicing those introductions. That was a little more punch in there. That was up until you put Mr. Lewis at the wrong high school. But up until that, it was very good. All right, we will now move on to item 9B. No, 9B's been pulled. We'll not take any action on that this evening. I'm sorry. We're now discussion and possible action to approve a school district teaching permit for selected teacher candidates. Tell you what, Mr. Sykes is correct. We'll pause just a moment. You are not required to stay here the rest of the night. If you'd like to sneak out, go ahead and do so right now. All right, it's the last few people clear out. We'll move on to item 9C, which is the action to approve the school district teaching permit for a non-core academic CTE course. Dr. Nelson?
Thank you, Mr. President. You have the background information on page 5. This is situation for criminal justice. We have our Director of Career and Technical Education that can answer any technical questions, or our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. We recommend approval as presented.
All right, are there any questions regarding the school district teaching permit? All right, then I'll entertain a motion. Thank you, Ms. Pettit. Is there a second? Thank you, Ms. Cordwag. Since there are no questions, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to item 10, the consent agenda. I don't believe I've been asked to pull anything from the consent agenda. All right. Pull item L. Is there anything else anyone would like pulled? All right. Then I will entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda with the exception of item L. Thank you, Mr. Dupuy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Sykes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Consent agenda is adopted with the exception of item L. Item L, Ms. Tico.
I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge, I know our administrators do a lot of work on all of the items in our packet, but I wanted to acknowledge the work that's been done by Mr. Correa over the last 9 months, I guess, on our prevailing wage rate. Last April, I asked our business office to consider this issue, and it was not taken up. It was not considered something that we needed to do at the time. And so I'm just really, I just want to thank Dr. Nelson and Mr. Correa for the hard work on getting this done, because it actually just took some work, that's all. It sounds more complicated than it is, but this is going to save our taxpayers a significant amount of money. What this means is that with each new construction project that we undergo here in the district, we are going to be paying rates that are prevailing in the area, as opposed to those rates that have been set by the federal government. So I just really just wanted to hold you up for the work, because I know it was a lot of work, and he had to deal with me in the meantime, giving him feedback, and so I just appreciate you, and I am really happy for our taxpayers that we got it done. And now I want to see that
It's implemented.
these wage rates are actually incorporated into our contract. So if you can speak on that, and what going forward we're going to do to make sure these new rates are incorporated in the work, I'd appreciate that.
Cadetta?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Board President Atkins, Dr. Nelson, members of the board. Appreciate the compliment. And so what we'll do now is I'll just have them adopted into the AIA document so that we follow those. So when we send them out for bids, they will know the standards that we have for wages.
Yes, Dr. Nelson.
You know, the other thing, really, Ms. Tico was a champion for this from the time we walked in, and the best thing about this process is it has allowed Mr. Carrera to become very familiar with the industry and learn it in a way that's not only locally but regionally. I mean, we were studying wage rates from here to Williamson County to Dallas County, and I think that this policy is rooted and grounded in best practices. So.
Well, I'll entertain a motion on item 10L.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Tico. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Sykes. Any other questions, comments, or discussion? All right, and all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. We'll move on to item 11, reports and discussion, update on the Transformation Waco Board meeting. Dr. Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Transformation Waco Board of Directors held their first public meeting on Tuesday at G.W. Carver Middle School. Their new board members were elected. This 7-member board represents the diversity of the neighborhoods served by the 5 schools in our transformation zone. It includes educators, parents, public health experts, and community leaders. It also includes people who represent a new generation of leaders in Waco, Texas. The board unanimously accepted the assignment of the performance contract to operate the 5 schools in the transformation zone and adopted the contract amendments required by the Texas Education Agency. Transformation Waco is now the operating partner for the 5 campuses. The next step will be to resubmit the contract to the Texas Education Agency. The agency will verify that the technical modifications were made to the contract and that Transformation Waco complies with the eligibility requirements for benefits under Senate Bill 1882. We have worked closely with the Texas Education Agency throughout this process and do not anticipate any issues with either. Transformation Waco's next board meeting will be 5:30 p.m. Tuesday, July 24th at G.W. Carver Middle School Library. As a final note, I would like to thank Dr. Robin McDurham, Prosper Waco, and all of the members of the Transformation Waco Board for serving in their roles throughout this process, whether the initial operating partner, the current operating partner, or the CEO, as Dr. McDurham is serving currently. I know that Prosper Waco is deeply invested in the success of these schools. And the school district, Transformation Waco, and Prosper Waco are committed to working together to improve student outcomes for kids in these transformation zone schools. We look forward to working closely together, hand in hand, to coordinate wraparound services for our students, instructional modifications, and overall improve the educational experience for every kid in the Waco Independent School District. Lastly, I would like to thank this board for their cooperation, flexibility, and patience as we have worked through this process, along with our Executive Director of Communications and Family Engagement, Mr. Kyle DeBeer, who has helped us learn about the different Senate bills and requirements from the Texas Education Agency. That includes our update at this time, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. I want to echo two things that you said. First of all, Dr. Nelson and I attended that initial meeting, and after they were elected, the new board members each introduced themselves and sort of why they've taken on this challenge. And the one thing that was very impressive about the work that Mayor Duncan, Dr. McDurham, and the others did was we didn't simply recycle the same individuals who've held leadership positions in this community for years, other than Hazel Rowe, who obviously has a long history with Waco ISD, and Mayor Duncan, who's been around forever. Everyone else was really a new generation of leaders and new individuals who've not held leadership positions in this community before, and to see them step up and continue on this community partnership between the Waco community and Waco ISD, I thought was really powerful, and it was really special. The other thing I want to echo, Tom Stanton that night gave special kudos to Mr. DeBeer, and I just want to echo that you've done a great job in helping steer us through the changing regulations over the spring and helping us get to a point, and I know we said it last week, but I want to say it again. On top of everything else he's done, Kyle found an article in the Texas Tribune that highlighted the fact that 6 districts applied for this relief under Senate Bill 1882. 1 was rejected outright. 4 they didn't take any action on because they wanted to interview the partners, and only 1, the partnership between Waco ISD and the Waco community, was approved subject to the minor contract revisions. And so, Kyle, thank you for helping lead us through that process. That was great. We'll move on to unless anybody else has any comments, Lone Star Governance Continuous Improvement at item 11B. Ms. McKevin.
Good evening. We have 2 different measures that we want to look at tonight for career and technology. The first one has to do with our certifications. It was reported by Perkins that we're at 91% passing rate for our students who take these certification tests. Some of these certifications are an even higher rate. For example, our CNA students are passing at an average of 98% passing rate for that CNA test. That is, some of these measures we'll continue to look at. I believe we can improve and get even more students, because as you're looking at passing rates, what I wanted to do was provide you with some numbers. So as we move forward, our passing rates are well, but we also want to see the numbers increasing. So you can see there that we had welding certifications. We have the VitaTech certification that's at University High School, our certified nursing. MOS is the Microsoft Office suite, where they get certified in Microsoft Office, PowerPoint, Excel, in those areas. And then this year we added some additional certifications. We added Premiere Pro, is what they use on television stations to work with film, and we had students for the first time and these are our seniors, the first time taking it, so I'm really pleased with these numbers, but I want them to improve. With our automotive program at Waco High School and the university moving to being a NATEV program, the ASC certification, they give student certifications. We had 113 students in our automotive program that passed those tests, and that's the first time we offered it. And I think that shows a lot of really good work by our automotive program, both at Waco High and University. The EverFi financial literacy program, for the first time we had students. And then we introduced EKG to our second-year students at Waco. We have more planned for next year. We will be looking at certifications in the area of criminal justice. When you look at career readiness for the accountability system, there are all these, I think of it like a big sieve, like you were going to drain your spaghetti, and you want every student that goes through that process to fall in a hole. And some of our students fall in holes of doing well on their tests. Some of them do well in getting a certification. Some also get through the hole by joining the military. So they're all falling. He's laughing at me, but that's the best way I can explain it. So these students that are represented here go toward us on our accountability for this year. For the first time, 37% of the accountability goes toward these college and career readiness areas. And so we're real pleased that we were able to provide the district with these type of certifications and look for more to come. The second goal was on our advanced career and technology programs. Once again, this is another piece of that accountability system. These students that perhaps didn't get a certification or they didn't do well, but they took the advanced career and technology. A lot of these are advanced practicum courses. And I wanted to give you the list and see numbers, because even though we've met this goal, I'm not completely pleased with it because I want to see these numbers increase. So these are students, either juniors or seniors, who have completed that advanced course. So you can see in the different areas. This year, we'll be focusing a lot on our criminal justice program. We're looking into 911 operator's license. There's actually some jailer certifications that our students may be able to complete. The civil service exam may be some that we can prepare them for as they graduate and want to go into work within the police department. That's kind of an area where if you want to be a police officer, you have to wait till you're 21, and so we're actually losing a lot of students who are interested, but by providing them perhaps with some of these other certifications, they can stay in the area of criminal justice and then move on into it as they want to become police officers. So I'm pleased with these numbers. I'm not satisfied, but pleased, I guess, is the best way to put it, because I feel like that even as we move into more and more, we'll look at some other certifications to add next year. Looking at pharmacy tech at the current, that we're going to kind of pilot pharmacy tech at the Healthcare Academy next year to see if that's a possibility for us. So we're constantly moving, because these certifications do get our students ready to either go to work while they're at college at a high-wage job, or perhaps become a career starting place for our students when they graduate from high school.
Thank you, Mrs. McKeffin. Appreciate your leadership.
Questions from the board? Ms. Tico?
Yeah, I have a question about the certifications.
Yes, ma'am.
Are all of the certifications that you have listed here certifications that are on the list for the CCMR?
The VITA certification is not. Welding is, CNA is, Mouse is, Premier Pro is, Automotive is, and then the EKG is as well. The EverFi is not. But we want to list those because teachers work, we put them on the, and here's the other piece. I am actually, that is all under scrutiny at this time. I'm actually on the committee that is helping to work through this and so at this point, the TEA's plan is this. They actually did a huge survey this spring for our career and technology community, the business community, and they looked at what certifications, because we're all not totally pleased with that list. And so then this summer, they're taking it before a Senate committee, the ones that do part of the appropriations piece. And then in the fall, they're convening committees. Ms. Beckham is on one for health science, I'm on one for manufacturing, and then we'll be making recommendations on which certifications need to move forward to be on that final list, because the things that we report on Perkins are not necessarily the things that we're getting that CCMR credit for. So there are some that are on that list that are impossible to attain, or perhaps some of them they're just not a good list. So I'm actually really actively involved in working on getting that list modified for the state, and so.
So of these numbers, because this goal didn't actually track or didn't ask for the numbers of seniors, but for the rating, it's the number of seniors who graduated in 18 with certification that count, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So have you figured out how many of these students were actually seniors last year?
Some are juniors.
And so will it still count?
Yes.
Okay, if you get the certification,
Yes, ma'am. You get it wherever it
it
goes.
counts.
So for example, if they were to pass the college entrance test early on, then it counts. So what happens at this point is we have all our reports in, and I will go in and actually go into Teams and actually record this, and these will show up on their diplomas. We can also include things like VITA tax certification, just so that a student, even though it doesn't count on the CCMR, you can have it on there so that those colleges looking at those transcripts can see that the students were actively involved in some of the other things.
Thanks.
Other questions from the board? Ms. Keith, I'm looking through the report. Obviously, the goal progress measure was stated as a percentage, and we've got the raw numbers.
Wrong numbers.
And it says mastery of goal is what, raw numbers, I'm sorry, not
Okay.
wrong.
That was one of the things, Pat, that we talked about, because that percentage of passing rates reported on Perkins, and we're at 91%.
Right.
And so I wanted to give you numbers, because we talked about at the other times that passing rate, I mean, you could have 10 and have a passing rate that's good, but I wanted you to actually see numbers. That's why you have raw data instead of just that passing rate.
I know when we looked at it last year, because we were already above where we wanted to be in 2020,
Correct.
we talked about sort of reviewing that goal as well as the progress measures. And obviously last week, we were kind of asked by TEA to do the same thing with respect to a number of our goals and progress measures. So do you, I know you're busy preparing for next year, is there a timeline to kind of revisit this and look at it so that we have a goal that actually we haven't already achieved? So we have something that we're trying to get to by 2020, and then the progress measures to evaluate?
I think what we're looking at will be the increase of these numbers. That's why we're looking at, so the kind of the way that we're headed and then why it's here is I want to not only see passing rates, but I want to see these numbers increasing. And there's some other data we can look at. One of them has to do with that certified nursing. I want to be able to compare how our teachers at Waco do compared to other programs with CNA. So I did some research, and the only data they report is first-time test takers. And so we're going to start looking at what our percentages for first-time test takers so that we can compare ourselves to other testing entities. So there'll be some things like that we can look at as far as like first-time testing, percentage of students passing. I want to see, at this point, I want to see the number of certifications increasing as opposed to just the passing rate.
Right, okay. And
Does
that's
that
something
make
we'll have presented sometime, I guess, during the school year next year, and we can revise our goals and progress measures. That'd be great. Other questions or comments? All right, thank you, Ms. McKethan. Item 12, announcements, Mr. DeBeer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple of things I'd like to highlight for the board between this meeting and your next meeting. First, online registration for the 2017-2018 school year will open on July 9th. Families can access that form at wacoisd.org/enroll and complete most of the registration process at home. We're also going to have a series of special registration events happening Monday through Thursday, July 9th through August 3rd. On Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday of those weeks, Waco High School, University High School, and GW Carver Middle School will be open from 8 to 5 to help families complete the registration process. We're asking families to go to the school that corresponds to their students' feeder pattern. And then on Tuesdays during those weeks, we'll have later hours from 8 to 8 to help with that. Then also towards the end of the month of July, we have an incredible partnership between Waco ISD Fine Arts and the Waco Civic Theater in performances of The Wizard of Oz. Those run July 19th through July 28th on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of those 2 weeks. We're really excited about the performances. A number of people here on the staff have children who are participating and are raving about the experience already. So thank you so much.
Hey, Mr. Beer, Dr. Nelson, you have anything to add?
No, sir.
All right. Then hearing no objection, 8:05, we'll stand adjourned.